Hello, and welcome to this special Q&A video with Andromedan contactee Alex Collier. In today's video, we're sharing an exclusive sneak peek from the latest webinar's question and answer session. If you'd like to dive deeper and watch the full webinar replay, it's available for just $6.99 over at alexcollier.tv, exclusively for our community of truth seekers. Before we get started, we'd be so grateful if you could like this video, subscribe to our channel, and click the bell icon to get notified of all new videos. Your support helps spread Alex's messages from the Andromedans to more people around the world. And don't forget to leave a comment below. Whether it's your thoughts, a question, or even just an emoji, every comment counts, and we read them all. Your feedback and engagement really make a difference. If you'd like to show a little extra support, consider clicking the Super Thanks button, the heart with a $sign, to give a tip. Every bit helps us continue to bring you more content from Alex Collier. Now, let's get into this special Q&A with Alex.
Alex, you've said in the past that the Andromedans admire our will to live and have families despite our circumstances. Is this drive a result of our unique human genetics, or is it the soul's essence responding to this density? Also, do you think source energy anticipated the profound suffering that would result from creating free will life in these lower densities? Much love to you and the team. Excellent question.
That's from, who is that? Denali?
Amir. A-M-I-R.
Amir. Yeah. That is such a great question. Thank you. Thank you for asking it. It's soul. It's soul. You know, I think any living thing has a strong passion to remain alive, but to continue to be alive and thrive and to build something and move towards civilization building consistently, that's soul, in my humble opinion. That is a soul who knows what it's about, what this is about, the experimentation of physiology or physicality is in lower dimensional realms. And in order to exist, one has to continue to manifest even itself. Do I think Source understood the pain that would result in the creation of free will? I do. I do. And this is my own perspective based on my own personal work and talking to the A's. Source does not kill itself. It doesn't hurt itself. So all of this talk about heaven, hell, you're going to be tortured forever and ever, none of that shit's real. I know that there are children and people who have died and said they went to hell, and yeah, I know all of that. Okay. I cannot disparage or anything about their experience. That's their personal experience. But free will, I think the experiment of free will was a way for Source to expand its own self without conscious limitations. In other words, if you were going to create yourself, would you give yourself absolute free total reign to do whatever you wanted at any time with anything, with anyone, and they you, or would you constrict yourself or limit yourself in some ways in order to protect yourself? because most of us would do things to protect ourselves. This would imply that Source maybe wanted to also experience fear. I mean, these are huge, massive questions to ask. But we know fear does exist. We also know that free will exists. We also know that pain exists, and judgment, and anger, and hate, all of these things. Now, each one of us that has soul has or is experiencing these things in one way or another at one time or another, past, present, or future. Source is learning by our own personal experiences, which leads me to something that Phaseus once said long ago. When I asked about God, is there a God, and how do they perceive it? And there are still some notes I've never shared with anyone about those conversations. But he did say this: the worship of the isness, their expression for Source, what we call God, Great Spirit. The worship of the isness is the creation of self. So we're one and the same. We're expressions of the same. So the soul cannot be destroyed. No matter what anybody tells you, cannot be destroyed, because Source does not destroy itself. And for those elements of Source that have gone completely dark, absence of light, it's my understanding that at some point those souls hit a wall and they're reset, and they are brought back to Source to begin the process all over again. Hence the expression, all the broken pieces find their way home.
Hey, I hope you're enjoying today's video. Want to stay up to date with all the latest news from Alex Collier? Don't miss out. Sign up for his free email newsletter at alexcollier.news and be the first to know about his live webinars, new revelations, and exclusive insights. It's quick and easy, and you'll never miss an important update. Just click the link in the description or head to alexcollier.news to sign up now. And now back to our regular scheduled content.
Alex, what can you tell us about the Black League? I feel somehow connected. Did they have a base on Earth? Maybe in Peru?
The Black League was in many ways, the whole Star Wars rebellion against the Empire in so many ways mirrors the Black League. When the Lyran star system was invaded and things went south, it went from 0 to 100 miles an hour very, very quickly. And anything that would fly, people were getting into it, and extraterrestrials, well, some were people, some were not, but everybody was running for safety, trying to get out. And anything that would fly, they would cram into and leave. And many of the starcraft at that particular time, there were some that were bona fide starships. Others would be hollowed out asteroids that had propulsion systems built on the surface in order to make them move. And then the interiors would have to be terraformed, for lack of a better word. And whatever would be needed, oxygen making equipment, plant life, anything that could produce oxygen and other particular gases would be put on board, including water and other rations and things that would store well. Those things were already in place, but when the Orion Draconian ship showed up, they freaked. And many people got scared right away because, they didn't know the reptilians. And many of them were very, very large. Some to the, the military version the military version, 7 to 10 feet. And then you had the sea cars, who were 18 to 22 feet, 15 to 22 feet tall. And then they had the royal line with the winged appendages, almost like the dragon. They were very, very formidable and absolutely really scary. And everybody just took off. And many ships, many of the crew, they didn't survive, or the people on board didn't survive because they didn't have enough food. They didn't have a direction. They didn't know where they were going. There was some exploration, and there were other smaller colonies, but they could not take so many refugees. Their system simply didn't have enough food. They themselves would have found themselves in the exact situation. And in fact, they did. They did. Some of the smaller colonies that were out there took as many people as they could. They themselves ran out of food, and they took whatever they could put together and put it in their craft, makeshift craft, and took off as well. However, the further we got away from Lyra, and spoke to other colonies, these other colonies knew of other races further away. So it was like a stepping stone where we would expand to outside planets and then colonies, and then we would meet people there and they would help. And then they decided, well, we got to get out of here too. And they would take us further into the galaxy. And that's how it started. And that was the purpose of the migration, to find more advanced, larger civilizations so that we could be protected. In order to make sure that all of these smaller colonies were given the time to leave, the Black League was started, and it was a group of ragtag rebels, white hats with a cause. And we decided to stay behind and do whatever we could to slow down the Orion Empire and the reptilians, and we would do everything we could to sabotage. And the reason it was called the Black League is because we would stay on in the shadows of stars and moons, and that's where we would stay until their ships came in. Then we would attack. We would take ourselves out. We would ram their towers, their propulsion systems, anything that we had to do in order to slow down their advancement. And it worked. It worked for a very, very long time, that we pissed them off so much. They invested all of this equipment and time and energy into finding us. So we had them going around in circles. And the radars that they were using at that particular time, which were far more sophisticated than us, but they couldn't see in the dark. They didn't know we were there. Sometimes we would bury ourselves in a cave inside of a crater, and they would pass right over us. I mean, there were so many things going on, and each star group had their own way of doing it. And many times we didn't know who the other teams were, but we knew that they were on our side because we would watch them and they would watch us. and how we dealt with the Draconian ships and the Orion ships. We were taking them out just like they were trying to take them out. So there was a very loose coalition, and if we got captured, we could not tell anybody about the other groups because we didn't know them. We knew they were there, we knew they existed, but there was no contact. So it was a loose confederation, but yet it worked because we knew they were there, and they knew we were there, and we all had the same intent to slow these ships down, this expansion down, so that our families and our loved ones and our races, our civilizations could get away, and that's what they needed was time. And that's something that we did, was given that time. Like the dog soldiers of the what is it? Oh my God, what's the name of the Indian tribe? The dog soldiers. They would always stay behind and allow the tribe to get away and get more distance, and they would stop and they would sacrifice themselves and do whatever was necessary, to stop the advancement of a military or the cavalry. They were called dog soldiers, and Native American. The Native Americans taught our Americans how to fight the British. To stand in the field face to face and load your muskets and shoot each other. That wasn't going to work for us. The British were very, very good at that, and they had all this ammunition, and they had all this experience, and we weren't going to win that way. So we learned from the Native Americans how to dogfight. And we used the terrain as an asset, as a weapon against the British. And of course, them moving through trees and forests with big, bright red coats was ridiculous, but that's the way they did it. They were arrogant to a fault. Hey, we're the British. We're better than anybody else. Okay. And karma eventually catches up with everybody. And it's caught up to Britain now, big time. They have a lot of problems there, and it's not the people's fault. It's the government, it's the banks, it's the elite there. They have completely disregarded the people, which is the only reason they have any power. So anyway, I don't want to divert, but so the Black Lead, probably in Earth years, lasted 100,000 plus years. That's how long this occurred. We were very, very effective. All we had to do was really piss them off. And that's all it really took to get their attention. We were really good at pissing them off. We really were. We fought dirty. We had no rules, no compunctions, no anything. It was win at any cost, slow them down at any cost, just wreak havoc. And that's what we did in our little asteroids and everything, and it worked very well. Because if you shut everything down, there's no energy signature whatsoever. They go right by you, and now you find yourself right behind them, and you take out, their thrusters or a propulsion system. Gosh, what a beautiful thing. So there's a Cliff Notes version.
Thank you so much for watching today's question and answer video. If you enjoyed it, please like the video, subscribe to our channel, and click the bell icon to stay updated on new videos. Your support truly helps us spread Alex's messages from the Andromedans and reach more people. For those interested in the complete experience, remember that the full webinar replay is available for just $6.99 at alexcollier.tv. This is where you'll find Alex's in-depth insights and answers to more questions from our community. We'd also love to hear from you. Leave a comment or drop an emoji below. We read every single comment, and your engagement really means a lot to us. To keep up with the latest from Alex Collier, you can visit alexcollier.org for more about his work, alexcollier.news to sign up for our email newsletter with the latest updates and exclusive content, and alexcollier.live for the most recent news and info. And don't miss our full library of over 250 past webinars on alexcollier.tv. Thanks again for supporting the work of Alex Collier. Your support makes it all possible, and we're truly grateful for each and every one of you. See you next time. If you would like to see the Andromedan contactee Alex Collier live via video stream, we hold a live online seminar every Friday at 2 p.m. Eastern Time. For more information on upcoming live webinars, please visit alexcollier.org.